Apollo is an aura farming demon and he's completely out of control. The Prince of Ixia is finally here and he's pretty similar to Yamato's design. Generally, however, his deal is being too slippery to catch, with all 4 of his abilities providing movement in some way or another, as opposed to Yamato's more tanky side. Flawless Advance is Apollo's 3rd ability and generally what he'll be using to deal damage. Press and hold the ability key to time the first of 3 lunges with a quick time event to time for perfect damage. Dealing perfect lunge damage will heal you at level 1 of Flawless Advance and deal about 30% more damage than a regular charged lunge. Your next 2 lunges have an 8-second window to be recast whenever you like, with the same quick time event and effects. If landing perfect lunges feels daunting to you, I'd advise that you need to relax a little. They're fairly easy to hit with a massive perfect range. And hey, you can always just get a regular hit. It's better to land a charged, non-perfect hit than miss a perfect one. And you can always try again since you have 3 casts. Disengaging Sigil is Apollo's 1st ability, and you'll never guess what it's used for. Here's a hint, it's in the name. You draw a pentagram, which explodes and deals damage in an AoE around you, including behind you for some reason. Damage is relatively strong, with good scaling to boot. When it explodes, you leap backwards. This ability resets your momentum when you use it, which means that Disengaging Sigil should be used to start your retreat rather than something like Venator's Gut Shot or Shiv's Alt Fire, where you would use it to add impulse to your existing momentum. So because of how those 2 abilities work, Apollo's general game plan is to W key in, land his lunges, aura farm, and then use his Disengage Sigil to get out. He's basically a 2nd Yamato. That is, if Yamato had a built-in counterspell. Repost is Apollo's 2nd ability. It's really fun, and it's basically a built-in, better counterspell. When you activate this ability, you deflect any incoming damage for the next 0.3 seconds. If you received any damage within this time, you dash forward a rather far distance and stun any enemy hero you hit. Ultimate abilities are indeed included in what can be deflected, so that means you can repost Lash ult, Shiv ult, Drifter ult, and so on. It's for this reason that I call Apollo an aura farmer, since the lion does not concern himself with the ultimate abilities of his enemies, especially considering how satisfying Repost is to land. What's weird about Repost is the fact that landing the stun also decreases enemy bullet resist by 15% or 30% at level 2. Now, Resist Shred is the best stat in the game, however, Apollo isn't a hybrid hero. He generally should not be buying gun item. In any case, Repost is extremely powerful. Because its dash distance is so long, it can be a really clutch tool to quickly pull out of sticky situations. Pride of Ixia is the name of Apollo's gun, which is actually a saber, as evidenced by the handguard, as opposed to an epee or foil. If those words sounded too French to your liking, then don't look up the origin of the word Repost. The Pride of Ixia's base DPS is just a bit below average, and its bullet velocity is a lot below average, coming in at the 3rd worst bullet velocity in the game at 127 meters per second. The Pride of Ixia's tags are Medium Range and Projectile, which is accurate. What else is notable about the Pride of Ixia is the fact that it has no falloff range, in the sense that its projectiles simply stop existing at the 25 meter mark, kind of exactly like Drifter's gun, the Crimson Grasp. Itani Lo Sahn is Apollo's ultimate and one of 2 abilities in the game that deal the curse debuff to enemies, with the other being Grey Talon's Spirit Snare. Itani Lo Sahn is a long-range slash that you perform whilst dashing forward with a massive horizontal hitbox. It's worth noting that while the hitbox of Apollo's ultimate is very wide, it's not very long, meaning you can escape his ultimate if you just keep a good distance from him. Itani Lo Sahn is also how Apollo aura farms the most, since he's invincible during the dash and a short moment afterwards. He dashes through enemies, and all enemies hit have time slowed for them before taking a massive burst of damage. If they're at or below 50% health, they take a whopping base extra 60% damage, or at level 3, 100% extra damage, which generally seals anyone hit's fate. And that was basically my first impression on Apollo. He's fun, but tough to get the hang of. He's basically a 2nd Yamato, as I said, and just like Yamato, I definitely want to try maining him at some point. One thing that frustrates me about this hero is that slowing Hex doesn't actually disable any of his abilities except Flawless Advance, which, in my opinion, is actually the least movement-related ability that he has. I really think slowing Hex should shut down his entire kit. If 3 of Calico's abilities can be shut down by slowing Hex, I think all of Apollo's abilities can be shut down by slowing Hex. My name is FighterJet, and vote for Rat King next, guys. He's coming, trust me.